Hello and a very warm welcome to ABC World, the voice of Pan-Africanism from the capital Addis Ababa with the news. I'm Binyam Gatana. Do stay tuned. Here now the news in full. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed conferred with the leadership of the Tigray interim administration in his office to undertake deep review of the initiative and progresses in the state of Tigray. The review is expected to hammer away burning issues in the state since the inception of the interim regional administration. Abiy administration established an interim administration for the country's war-ravaged northern Tigray state back in March 2023, a key step in the implementation of a peace agreement. According to the Office of the Prime Minister, the evaluation of federal and regional actors focuses on post-conflict reconstruction and implementation of the signed peace agreement. The setting up of a temporary administration in the region was part of a peace pact signed in the Pretoria, South Africa in November 2022 between the Tigray People's Liberation Front and the federal government. The upper chamber of Ethiopia's parliament in March 2023 established the interim body to run the region until elections are held there, so far helmed by Getachew Reda. Meanwhile, the second session of Ethiopia's BRICS Senior Officials Committee meeting took place at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Ethiopia joined the BRICS family along with other 4 countries during the 15th BRICS summit held in August last year in Johannesburg, South Africa. According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the senior officials drawn from various federal institutions deliberated on activities related to Ethiopia's full integration into the BRICS and measures needed to ensure mutual benefits. They also discussed ways of best serving Ethiopia's national interest under the BRICS framework, according to the Foreign Affairs Ministry. In its membership, Ethiopia will actively participate in the BRICS with a primary focus on fostering partnerships and collaboration for development, people-to-people ties, and supporting the strengthening of the multilateral system. Meanwhile, the committee reports to the Ethiopian BRICS National Ministerial Committee. Another domain, Ethiopia and Pakistani defense universities discussed ways of cooperating in areas of training. Ethiopian Defense University Commander Brigadier General Kabede Regassa discussed with the Pakistani delegation led by Pakistani ambassador to Ethiopia, Atif Sharif Mian, on issues of institutional relations and common interest. During the discussion, Ambassador Sharif Mian said that the 2 countries' diplomatic relationship is strong and fruitful. The discussion was on areas of strengthening the defense universities of the 2 countries in technology, training, and research, he added. Commander Brigadier General Regassa, for his part, underlined that the universities cooperate with similar institutions on technology in order to excel the defense force capability based on research.
Boulevard here, Liberation Avenue. Even though the Italians have been out for 45 years now, it's unbelievable how well preserved their influence remains. The colonial architecture brings me right back to Florence or Milano. When you see that building behind me, you really think you're in Europe, but we are in Africa. There are pizza and pasta restaurants galore, cafes to serve you tasty cappuccinos. Wow, that looks amazing. Gelato, gelato, gelato. The bicycle culture to get from point A to point B. The super old Italian cars everywhere on the roads.
Earlier it was freezing cold. Now it's pretty much perfect. Sunny out with the breeze off. I had to guess they sell coffee right here. maybe not. And pass. Yeah, and everyone, hey, I need to get a bike.
Salam. How are you?
Yeah, very romantic. They have the couple there. Yeah. No one will see what you guys do. Oh, guys, the food just came.
Once again, welcome back to ABC Wallet, the voice of Pan-Africanism, and stepping to another development. Education, Science and Innovation Commissioner with the African Union stressed that there is still an urgent need to mobilize more resources for improved access to quality learning across the continent. Talking to the Ethiopian News Agency, the Commissioner, Mohamed Belossi, underlined that AU calls for regaining momentum and emphasizing education's role in development, aligning with the Agenda 2063, the blueprint for Africa's future prosperity. Johannes Fantaun has compiled the full story.
Africa comes from a baseline situation whereby poverty, nutrition, burden of debt, conflicts and human-made or natural disasters are creating competing priorities for governments. Professor Mohamed Belhossin, the AU's Education, Science and Innovation Commissioner, said. For the Commissioner, somehow African governments neglect some of the priorities where they have to deal with all these competing conditions.
After the COVID-19, it was we realized that not only the progress that was made have been somehow stopped, and the situation is compounded now. If that's why this idea of having education as the theme of the year was put on the table, because we think that with that we will be able to re-galvanize our member states, re-galvanize our population, our youth, to think more about education and see what are the main challenges that we need to address to make it, to bring it back on track.
According to the Commissioner, despite positive trends, many African countries struggle to meet the UN Sustainable Development Goals for education by 2030. Adding, he said the AU calls for regaining momentum and emphasizes education's role in development, aligning with Agenda 2063, the blueprint for Africa's future prosperity. The professor noted that the support of AU will be in terms of policy formulation, harmonization of policies, setting norms and standards.
We need to have harmonized system of recognition of diplomas and of qualifications at all levels in all countries. And that's what we are developing as a Department of Education, Science, Technology and Innovation. We are trying to have to formulate policies, to formulate strategies, norms and standards which will help countries to see whether they are at the same level, or if there are gaps, how to align with like a continental framework, so that it facilitates really mobility, it facilitates exchange of experiences, exchange of qualifications, exchange of knowledge.
With regard to funding, Professor Mohamed stated that support through partners like the African Development Bank, UN agencies and bilateral partnership has been mobilized, as the AU cannot fully depend on the contribution of member states. The EU-AU Innovation Agenda and teachers training programs exemplify successful collaboration, he added.
Same situation, competing priorities are there. So to tell you that we have the necessary resources is not true, but we try to mobilize also through, we are also mobilizing resources through partners, through African Development Bank, which is one of our key partners, but we have also cooperation and partnerships with many, many different sectors, starting with, for instance, UN agencies. We work closely with the agencies like UNESCO, like UNICEF, as far as education is concerned. We work also very closely with the World Food Programme.
And now in our business final segment, Inter-African Coffee Organization Secretary General said Ethiopia's coffee is highly competitive because of the competition in the domestic and international markets. Inter-African Coffee Organization Secretary General Solomon Rogota told Ethiopian news agencies that Ethiopia's coffee has very high premium and very good reviews globally. Goshu Maleso has compiled the full report from ENA.
Ethiopia is the top coffee Arabica producer in Africa. With its diverse geography and favorable climate conditions, Ethiopia provides an ideal environment for coffee cultivation. Ethiopia's coffee industry has seen significant growth and innovation, with efforts to improve quality standards, increase productivity, and promote sustainable practices. In an exclusive interview with Ethiopian news agency Inter-Africa Coffee Organization said Ethiopia's coffee is highly competitive both in domestic and international markets.
It is highly competitive because you're competing with the domestic market and the international market. So you're very privileged in Africa to have one of the highest per capita consumption.
Commenting on the significance of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, the Secretary General for Inter-Africa Coffee Organization said the AfCFTA offers an opportunity to boost inter-regional trade between coffee producing and consuming nations in Africa.
The Africa Continental Free Trade Area is an opportunity to promote the inter-regional trade between the G25 coffee producers and the G29 coffee consuming countries. So what is going to happen is this infrastructure and opportunity will create coffees coming from producing countries. For example, Ethiopia can export coffee directly to North Africa, in Algeria, Tunisia directly, without it having to go out and then coming back from the other across the Mediterranean.
Rutuga noted that coffee consumption per capita is highest in North Africa, particularly in countries like Tunisia and Egypt. The African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement will expand the market, he added.
The AfCFTA is a huge opportunity for the Inter-Africa Coffee Organization to provide members with a new market on the continent. The per capita consumption in North Africa is one of the highest. Countries like Tunisia, Egypt, Algeria consume quite a lot of coffee, of course, with Ethiopia. But most of the countries in the sub-Saharan southern are still very low coffee consumption. So the trade will provide an opportunity for the Inter-Africa trade to be able to expand.
African Fine Coffees Conference and Exhibition and the first African Coffee Week opened Monday. The event is said momentous to elevate African coffee to new heights. In Ethiopia, about 20 million people deal directly or indirectly in transporting, trading, processing, roasting, and exporting coffee, as well as in various activities along the value chain. It was learned.
And now recap of the headlines once again. Minister Abiy and the Tigray administration begin assessing situation in Tigray over the past 1 year. And Ethiopia's coffee lauded for being highly competitive. Well, you've been watching ABC World from the capital, Addis Ababa. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye and have a lovely time. Enjoy the rest of the program.